Now, for more on the UK by-election, a global affairs analyst, Benga Onifade, joins me now from the United Kingdom. Good to have you join us.
Hi, good afternoon.
Now, in his speech, Prime Minister Sunak did say that, look, no incumbent government has ever done well in by-elections. But somehow, this particular result is largely seen as a verdict on Prime Minister Sunak. Why is that?
I mean, you could tell they are clutching at straws right now. It kind of seems like a bit of desperation. While it's actually a good win, it's a little bit tricky because, you had the Conservative, sorry, the Lib Dems being, the people had a bit of a swing towards the Lib Dems, and then Labour lost just by 500 votes. They were not strong enough to hold to the win. And so more or less Conservatives won by just about 500 seats, really. So it's not really a disaster, but at the same time, I think it sends a message. I mean, on the other hand as well, why have they won? While if you look at the negatives on, which is happening in the UK, but on the other side, or on the flip side of things, if you think about it, Labour, they kind of shot themselves in the foot because the key things that made Conservatives win the election is mostly because of the ULEZ plan, which is the ultra low emission zone, which is actually which has been levied against should I say the poor Londoners especially, and even if you're not a Londoner, you got to come in if your car is not of a certain age, they blame it on pollution. Then of course that is actually been affecting Labour. So it's not exactly a done deal, but of course that sends a message to the Conservatives.
When you say it's not a done deal, these are areas where Conservatives have won easily before. Now, Labour has managed to overturn a 20,000 vote majority that Conservatives won in 2019. Now, for Tory members of Parliament sitting on similar majority, what does this mean for them, and how do you think they see this particular win?
I think if it's not just one that's very contentious, then of course I think Labour Party, sorry, the Tory right now, they've got they've got to start to, they've got to wake up really. I think almost more or less, Conservatives would have to do almost twice the double the amount of work to be able to hold on to their seats right now, because at the moment, we've got the cost of living crisis, there's inflation, which has been stubbornly sticky. You've got the NHS, people, struggling to get appointments, teacher recruitment crisis, mortgages going up. Even we have the Boris Johnson crisis, which is a distraction. There's been strikes here and there. I mean, in the last 25 years, I've never seen anything this bad. So unfortunately, regardless of how you're performing, I think the whole cloud is hanging on Conservatives' neck or head at the moment as we speak.
But does this suggest, because that's the speculation, that perhaps this suggests that the Tories could, or the Conservative could lose number 10 in the next election? But are there indications that this could happen?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. They've got to make it easy they've got to make it difficult for Keir Starmer, who's the Labour leader at the moment, but they're not actually making it easy for themselves at all. It's been 13 years of the Conservatives, of Tories in power. And guess what? All the data just suggests that everything is just sliding down the drain. And it's not amazing at all. So unfortunately, like I said again, it's not great. The data is not great. Nothing suggests at all that they will be holding on to the power next, at the next election. And they're just going to make it an easy win for the Conservatives, sorry, for Labour, really. And you could actually see is the writings written on the wall. Even Keir Starmer talking about, no, he's not even going to do a collaborative government because he knows. I mean, I wouldn't say it's a done deal, but at the end of the day, opinion polls suggest it. They said do not trust opinion polls, correct? But the sentiment out there shows that people just, people want to get things back on the back burner. They want to get all these things behind them, myself included. But right now, I think also people are just tired and they just want to change of government. And unfortunately, we haven't got enough time before the next election. And this is not going to be an overnight issue because we had 13 years of dealing with this thing. So unfortunately, it will take time and you can't just overturn everything in 12 months.
And the last time you had a Labour Prime Minister was in 2005. But what are the big issues in the UK that could play in the favour of the Labour Party?
Again, so the last time we had a Labour Party was Gordon Brown, if I was going to say. I think it was after that time that things started going on, and people started gears started shifting. We had Gordon Brown, and then from there we had Theresa May, and then the UK's left the union now, the big European Union. That actually has a cataclysmic effect on the United Kingdom. And again, so it kind of shrunk the value of the pound gradually. If you look at the value of the pound for the past 130 years, that actually made a bigger dip. And guess what? The pound hasn't been able to revive itself to that, to that level since then. So that's one angle. Again, we never had much strikes until we had it for the past year and now, really. Okay, if they're going to stop some of these strikes, I think from one of these things, which of course this is a Labour phenomenon, by the Mayor of London, the ULEZ, ultra low emission scheme, they've been able to raise £6 billion. That might be a negative for the people, but that only mostly affects Londoners, really. So that might be a dip, even if Labour lose the seat in London. But for the wider majority of the United Kingdom, I think they have it on going for them. Again, inflation. Rishi Sunak said he wants to halve inflation by the end of the year. Luckily, this month it dipped longer and better than we have. But 7.9% is still quite a high a number. The target is 2%. So whatever what he's doing right now, even if it gets to that point, which it wouldn't, because it would take more than 12 months to get to that point. These are things that Conservatives, also the Labour Party, can ride on. But unfortunately, nothing is going on for them at the moment, and it's not looking good.
And many will say, look, Prime Minister Sunak was always going to have it rough in office when you look at the activities of his two predecessors. But we'll see how he's able to pull through this. Thank you so much for talking to us. Global Affairs Analyst Benga Onifade.
Thanks for having me. Thank you.